What's up, everybody? The Miami Hurricanes have landed an extremely talented young defensive tackle in Jarquez Carter, freshman out of Ohio State, originally from Newberry, Florida, 6'2", 290, former four-star. Last year, Miami recruited this guy extremely hard. Took his teammate Micah Newton, who's a very explosive and talented young defensive tackle, dealt with some injuries, put on some weight, looks like he has a promising future. But they wanted to pair him. And Jarquez Carter was a major target. They were heartbroken to lose him to Ohio State. Ohio State, long tradition of defensive linemen. Larry Johnson, their whole crew up there was hard to resist. But ultimately, this portal era, finishing second can sometimes mean finishing first. Carter goes up to Ohio State, plays in 7 games, doesn't redshirt, even plays against Texas. So he was looking good in a system with Matt Patricia that doesn't necessarily fit his skill set as a penetrator, but he did well enough to play. Jumps in the portal just as Miami loses Dante Simpson from the same class, jumping in the portal, and it's almost like a 1-for-1 trade. Now Dante Simpson went to Missouri, not Ohio State. From Miami's perspective, Dante Simpson goes out, and Jarquez Carter goes in to join a very talented defensive tackle room for Damian Lewis and the Miami Hurricanes. Can appreciate everybody joining us here. This thing's already rocking and rolling. Let's watch the film because his senior clips, I remember I liked him as a junior, basketball player, highly athletic player out of Newberry, Florida, up near Gainesville. But when I saw his senior stuff, I knew exactly why Ohio State was trying to get him so bad. We needed to, because look at how explosive this dude is. And when you look at what Miami's doing on the defensive line, they want explosiveness, they want twitch, they want upfield ability. And certainly this guy's got a ton of that. A lot of these clips you see his teammate, Micah Carter, there you go, see him going after the ball, who's already joined the Canes and has been working hard, gaining weight. Pictures surface of Micah Newton really bulked up because he was a lighter guy when these clips were made, and he's since bulked up. But Carter, I mean, this is exactly how you want a 3 technique to look. A little on the smaller side, not particularly small, but if you're like, look at that knockback right there. If you're talking about Matt Patricia, New England Patriots style defense, maybe he's on the smaller side for that. But look at him block this kick. I mean, he is so explosive. There he's playing on the outside. If you're talking about somebody for this defense, he's got more than enough size to play the 3 technique. I wouldn't call him undersized for this defense whatsoever. But it's the first step. It's the lateral quickness. He's a basketball player, so he can change directions. He has that coordination. The motor, I mean, loves this guy's ability to chase, as you see right there, chasing down the ball. It's exactly what they told me when I asked about Carter, what they liked about him, and now having seen him for a year at Ohio State and everything else. They said that this guy's motor to chase down plays is outstanding. The first step is excellent, and he has a lot of strength to knock back. So I'm ecstatic with this move. I think with Dante Simpson leaving for more money to Missouri, which, look, that's his right. I don't think he made the smartest decision because he was in a very good position to develop here with Damian Lewis. You needed to replace his spot. You signed a bunch of defensive tackles this year in the class of 26. When you talk about Logan Nagel, who's kind of that DN defensive tackle. Keyshawn Stansel, the top 100 player from North Carolina who could potentially play this year, just got back from the Navy All-America game. Isaac Chukwura from Delaware, former Penn State commit, 4.8 speed, really explosive. Frederick Saintius, big, talented defensive tackle from the west coast of Florida, originally from Haiti, now in Naples. And then Tyson Bacon from Alabama. A lot of these guys that are athleticism, motor, twitch, violence, those are what you get with those guys. And Carter's no different. Look at him playing tight end with the soft hands to get down the field. Make a little move there. But he plays tight end again, scores a touchdown here. Maybe we got a little package you can run. Nice soft hands, get in the end zone. But all of these guys from the class of 26, and then if you look at the class of 25, where we try to get Carter, Micah Newton, really more of an explosive player than someone who's going to just plug. And then his teammate, Jarquez Carter, now backfilling into that class, replacing Dante Simpson. So you have really gotten away from the model of those big pluggers. Anthony Kennedy was that in this last class from Arkansas. Ends up decommitting. I believe he ended up in Missouri, if I'm not mistaken. But Miami dropped him. Really getting away from pluggers and going with guys like this. Look at the balance that Carter shows there as he gets chop blocked, never leaves his feet, stays on his feet, gets up like a cat, makes the tackle. So this is really And we didn't have Heatherman last year when we got Jarquez Carter. That was right before Heatherman signed. But he actually fits Heatherman's system like a glove because of that motor, because of that violence, because of that ability to come off the edge, as you see here, or more likely at Miami, playing at that 3 technique, lining up right over the guard and beating him with lateral quickness. So if I were to compare him to somebody on the team right now, maybe an Ahmad Moten. I don't know if he's as big as Moten, maybe a little quicker and faster, but that's who he would remind me of, is that Ahmad Moten. If you look at this defensive tackle room, I think it's going to be the best in the country next year because you do bring back Ahmad Moten, who is quickly developing into one of the best defensive tackles in America. Huge, huge key for this national championship game against Indiana. How good does it sound to say that? National championship game against Indiana. Oof, feels good. But Ahmad Moten was going to factor in big time there. Justin Scott, the 5-star from the class of 2024, really coming into his own. He had that clothesline against Trinidad Chambliss, looking like the old Stan Hansen, if you remember professional wrestling, the lariat that he used to deliver. That's what Justin Scott did to Trinidad Chambliss. But he really is coming on, playing to his strength, to his size, a great athlete as well as Justin Scott. He looks like he's going to be potentially an NFL type of guy next year, along with Moten. So those are 2 NFL defensive tackles. And then Armando Blunt, who was sort of an inside-outside guy, 5-star in that class of 24, reclassed. So he really should have been in last year's class, only 18 years old, really, really young for how talented he is. And by the way, I heard Jarquez Carter, who we're looking at here, is also only 18 years old. So a lot of young talent in that room. But Armando Blunt, I think you're seeing him being more of a permanent defensive end, tackle, outgrowing defensive end. You've seen him play in games. His first step, particularly when it comes to pass rush, is outstanding. Still needs to get stouter against the run just because of his size. But I think he'll keep getting bigger, keep getting stronger, keep just getting that grown man strength, chases down plays with the best of them. So he's going to be really, really good. Armando Blunt's already a game record in terms of the pass rush. So you add Carter, I should say, to Blunt, Scott, and Moten. I think he has a great chance to be that 4th defensive tackle next year, where you really thought Dante Simpson was going to play. He has a chance to do that. Keyshawn Stansel, some of these other guys will have their say. His old teammate, Micah Newton, will have his say as well. Let me find the picture of old Micah Newton because he's really bulked up to team up with Carter. So this is Newberry, Florida again. So those who know my Florida, Newberry, Florida, right there up there by Gainesville, North Central Florida. And these two, talking about Micah Newton and Jarquez Carter, were absolute terrors for Newberry. But with Micah Newton, the reason he was not as big of a prospect as Carter, who just committed today, is because Micah Newton just wasn't as heavy, right? So he's really bulked up. Here's a good picture here. Pull up CanesInsight.com. Pause this film, which is hard because it's so much fun to watch. You could watch that film all day. And let's take a look at CanesInsight.com. This is my website, 7.8 million posts and counting, millions, tens of millions of hits a year. I believe 55 million last year. So we're rocking and rolling. Anyways, there was a thread showing a new picture of Micah Newton. So this is Jarquez Carter's teammate, who was like 260 pounds, 255 pounds in high school. See, he's bulked up as well while recovering from an injury. So like what you see with Micah Newton from a development standpoint, and now Jarquez Carter's old buddy, his old running mate, will join him. So those two together, you're basically backfilling the class of 25 for that Newberry tandem. And I think that's going to be a very, very good explosive tandem for the Miami Hurricanes, joining all the guys that you have in 2026, which is really like between Stansel, Chukwura, Nagel, Saintius, Bacon, really 5 defensive tackles, all from a similar build, under 300 pounds, but very explosive and play hard. Then you had the 2 5-stars from the class of 24, which is Armando Blunt and Justin Scott. So that's your defensive tackle room with great coaching from Damian Lewis, who's proved to be a great coach. Ahmad Moten as that senior leader. I love where this position is heading into 2026. And look, it's not like you have a ton of experienced guys there. I mean, you kind of do, but you don't have like 3 lines of it. But that's college football. You're not going to have a ton of experienced defensive tackles in college football. Those guys get poached in the portal. I think we're probably more experienced than most when you have 3 guys in Moten, Scott, and Blunt that have been playoff tested. I mean, these are guys that are out there battling Ohio State, Ole Miss, Indiana coming up, Texas A&M, Notre Dame. These are guys that have been through the war. So we're going to probably be one of the most experienced defensive tackle groups in the country, and certainly one of the most talented. So I love this ad. Let's look at the chat. Brandon says, love it, want him out of high school. I agree. What else we got here? Shane Campbell says, D, the hair's looking slick. You change up? Not really, man. This is the emergency pod hair at 8:39. It's been laying around in bed. I think I might be getting the flu, unfortunately, but we're still rocking and rolling. There's no days off. This is national championship week. A lot of questions on quarterback. We did a ton of pods yesterday. You saw earlier today, I should say. You saw the Sam Leber reaction video. I still think Ty Simpson is where you're focusing your energy if you're a Canes fan. And I think that's who we want. That's what I want. That's what I wanted for a long time. Since CJ Bailey sort of got out the picture, I think he can really, really go. Ben Pfeiffer asking on Samir West, the defensive end out of James Madison. I believe he followed his coach to UCLA. There was interest, but I think the guy to keep an eye on there is Damon Wilson. Some breaking news, portal news, as Bo Pribula, the quarterback from Missouri, goes to Virginia to replace Chandler Morris on a 10-win Virginia team. So that's going to be interesting to watch as an ACC fan, what Virginia does there. 1,300 on live right now. Again, appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe to the show. We'll be on tomorrow morning, right again with Amon Richards and the whole crew. Got a lot of stuff going on tomorrow. But, yeah, man, I am jacked up about this ad. It's going to be a good one. Oh, comments on the audio. Oh, you know why the audio sounds off? I used the wrong mic. My fault. All right, well, sorry about that. Like and subscribe to the show. Go Canes.